flown Spitfires would agree with that.
You want to turn, you think about it, and you turn. It really is a beautiful thing. It's a musician's aeroplane, you play with it.
It is a wonderful aircraft in the cruise if you're just transiting along from one position to another. And yet it turns into this amazing fighting machine. It turns from a nice, pleasant lady into a really wicked fighter.
As 1939 became 1940, the RAF had the aircraft. What it lacked were enough pilots. The only way to boost numbers fast was slash the training time. During the Battle of Britain, new pilots were reporting for duty with just 9 hours' experience in a Spitfire.
The successful pupil who gets the 9 hours in the Spitfire, by the end of that period of time, apart from the actual doing takeoffs and landings, he will be very close to, hopefully, what a similar-houred Battle of Britain pilot may have been.
Do a left-hand turn.
Okay.
Just try and keep the height, which you are. You're doing nicely.
Hey!
Just bring it back again now, and then go to the right. You've got some natural ability there, Dave. I can see why you were chosen.
Sucks to tell you the truth to get through, but
Yeah.
no complaints if you get to fly a Spitfire.
Dave has completed his first hour's flight in a Spitfire. If this was 1940, he would now have just 8 more hours before he was expected to go and fight for his life.
Why can't all aircraft be Spitfires?
At Duxford, it's RAF trainee John Sweet's turn to take the controls for his first flight in the Spitfire. Back in 1940, pilots would have been on the lookout for enemy fighters from the moment they took off. On the 10th of July 1940, the scale and ferocity of air fighting increased dramatically. It is therefore considered to be day one of the Battle of Britain.
Okay, I'm going to hand over control to you now. You had control.
I have control.
You had.
At the beginning of July, Fighter Command had 754 Hurricanes and Spitfires at their disposal, 2/3 of which were Hurricanes and just 1/3 Spitfires.
The Spitfire has become the kind of emblem of the Battle of Britain, almost the emblem of Britain's war effort. But in 1940, I think we need to think of this as the battle that was won by Hurricanes and Spitfires, and not just by Spitfires.
Well, I've flown both the Hurricane and the Spitfire. The Hurricane was a good aircraft to fight in. I brought one home once when a chap had got on my tail. He looked like a colander. But they were able to repair it. I was back on the line in the squadron within 6 weeks.
It was a better aircraft than the Spitfire in certain respects. It was a better gun platform, and it had the same armament, of course. And it turned more quickly, but it didn't really matter. But it didn't have the agility of a Spitfire.
The speed and manoeuvrability of the Spitfires made them ideal to take on the fighter escorts, while the sturdy Hurricanes took on the bombers.
We found it quite satisfactory to do that, because the bombers used to come across in formation at between 15 and 18,000 feet. And we were sufficiently agile to be able to cope with the bombers quite well. But of course, it was whilst we were attacking the bombers, we used to be clobbered from behind by the escorts, and we couldn't cope with them. We couldn't cope with them.
What they faced was the greatest air armada the world had ever seen. Ranged against them were 1,107 Messerschmitt 109s, the most feared and deadly of the German fighters. On top of this, the Germans had 357 twin-engined Messerschmitt 110 fighters, 1,380 Heinkel, Dornier and Junkers twin-engined bombers, along with 428 deadly Stuka dive bombers ready to throw into battle. The odds of 4-1 ranged against Fighter Command looked daunting. Little wonder the Germans thought it would be all over in a week.
Okay, level out there.
Okay, I'm going to pull the boost back to a half. And then pull the RPM down to 2,000, was it? Or
Yeah, that'll be fine, yeah. Okay.
Okay, boost coming back.
Yep.
And the RPM coming back.
And that's a classic Spitfire bounce.
Yep.
The second one is okay.
That was fantastic. It was a little bit twitchy to start off with, but once I got the hang of it, it's absolutely wonderful aircraft to fly. It's really nice and smooth, and very responsive to everything you do.
After 15 minutes of flying the Spitfire, it's incredible how at ease I felt with it straight away. It's an aircraft which immediately gave me a lot of trust in it. The behaviour of it is impeccable. It's absolutely superb.
They're both very competent, surprisingly so.
How did you find that?
John has the advantage of being a